Real life.
Superpowers.
If you're still hesitant and you're still afraid and you continue to live your old life, maybe the moment didn't come when you really understand that you can't do this anymore. But better if you don't wait for this moment, because time flies and the most precious thing is your time. So better if you actually see some examples. Maybe you can get some inspiration from this and you just start to change.
Hey everyone, we have a special episode today. We've interviewed over 30 peak performers, and one thing they all have in common is their visceral belief that if you can dream it, you can do it. Typically, we interview tech entrepreneurs. I think that's probably because it's our personal landscape. But every once in a while, we get an opportunity to interview someone from a whole other universe. And this episode is such. In it, we speak with Anastasiya Stepanova. She's Anne, engineer at the Institute of Biomedical Problems at the Russian Academy of Sciences. She's a space journalist, co-author of the book I Wish You a Good Flight. She was a test subject in the first-in-the-world female dry-immersion experiment at the Institute of Biomedical Problems. She's a health and safety officer and crew journalist in the international project MARS160, through which she spent 80 days at the Mars Desert Research Station in Utah, 30 days at the Flashline Mars Arctic Research Station on the uninhabited Devon island in Canada. She's also spent 120 days in isolation as a mission specialist in an international isolation experiment. And on top of those, she is also a rescuer at the Public Search and Rescue Squad Space Reserve and an ambassador of the charity project Unity, helping to send children's dreams to space. What a character. When does she ever sleep, right? I'll step out of the way and let you listen to this amazing woman. I think listening to her will help you look within.
Real life.
Superpowers.
Up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It's alive!
Real life.
Superpowers.
So Anastasia, welcome to Real Life Superpowers.
Thank you so much for inviting.
What are you up to these days?
Just today I finished my 24-hour shift as a duty technician in dry immersion experiment. We simulate microgravity effects on human body. So I was not the test subject, but now I was on the other side. I was actually taking care of security and health of the test subject.
Oh, right. It sounds like my day.
So what is the effects of gravity?
Well, we simulate the negative effects of microgravity, which is muscle atrophy and also the hypokinesia. Basically, we have the big bath filled with water and covered with waterproof foil. Then you put there a human and dive in the full body except your head, of course. So basically you're floating and you have to stay there for a couple of days. And I think the longest one was 56 days and the shortest 3 days. So you just stay there. They bring you food. They bring you toilet. They take you out once in a day for maximum 15 minutes to take a shower, and shower should be all in horizontal position. So there won't be any effect of the gravity.
Because it's not really a natural way to be testing gravity, because I'm thinking it's kind of like cheating, because they're also in a form that they're not, and also not moving and anything else. How do you take that into account?
Yes, I mean, we need to move as minimum as we can. So what the negative effect, most of all, is that, of course, your lower part of your body in microgravity suffers a lot since you don't use your legs much. Here on Earth, we use all the muscles of lower part for our pose, right? We're standing, we're sitting, and all those muscles are working all the time. And in microgravity, we don't need to use that. The same when we are in dry immersion experiment. Dry because we are not touching the water, but we are in the water. And immersion, basically, we are immersed into this bath. So that's why it's called like that. And the first experiments actually were wet immersion. So it was terrible because you have to stay in the water for a couple of days. Of course, you have skin problems, etc. But it was back in 70s. So now it's all much safer, but it's still not so easy as it seems. Many people think that, you just kind of on a floating bed. So what's difficult in this? But it's really crazy how your body starts to react to this kind of extreme environment. And in the first couple of hours, you start to lose a lot of liquid. Basically, you pee a lot because of the redirection of liquid in your body. So since water pressures your pressure on your legs, on your lower part, so your body wants to get rid of this extra pressure. It starts to lose liquid, to get rid of the liquid. So you pee a lot, up to 2 liters in a day. And that's also really crazy because you just went to the toilet. They bring you special equipment for that. For women, it's complicated. By the way, this dry immersion, I just finished, in October, I was the first female test subject ever in the world. Can you imagine 50 years of space exploration, of space flights, and so far nobody did it with women.
This is really fascinating, and I'm sort of wondering, what is your motivation to do this?
Of course, I want women to be more in the space field, in science, especially among cosmonauts or astronauts, because so far it was. They were saying that, it's more complicated to bring women to space. It's easier with men and etc. And we need to study female body better, and we need to write new protocols for women and etc. etc. So yes, it's a bit more complicated, but not because we are like that, because it wasn't being done. So we need more statistics, we need more data on how female body reacts to this kind of environment. And of course, we can bring many women into space. We can bring all the equipment, all the scientists. That's why we simulate microgravity effects here on Earth in this kind of experiments. And I was ready to be the first test subject to actually prove that we are not worse or we are not better. We might have the same reaction as the men. So there is nothing to be afraid of.
And how did you end up, volunteering and finding yourself being the test subject?
It's a long story, but I was dreaming about space since kid. But then it was not the best times in Russia and USSR. So I actually went to journalism, but space journalism. And after that, when I graduated and worked a bit, I understood that life is too short. You need to follow your dreams. And I think it was 2013 when there was more private space companies announced and more possibilities for people who are not involved in the space sector to actually participate in the projects and do something, which I did. I applied. There was a controversial MARS1 program, which now is freezed or closed. I don't know which way is the best to describe it. And after the MARS1 program, which planned to send humans to Mars, it was a private company, but they didn't get enough funding, so nothing happened. But I passed all the rounds, so I was kind of in the finalist of 100 people around the world. And when I started to do that, I understood that you have to believe in yourself and actually work hard, and maybe you can actually achieve and change all your life, totally change it. So when I involved in all of that, I understood that I need to also to try different projects, because if I just fly for one and then MARS1 it closes, I will be with nothing. And I didn't want to have that. So There is also Mars Society organization in United States, and they have simulation of Martian station, like Mars research station, in Utah Desert and in uninhabitable island in Arctic, where crews actually go and live like a Martian life, like they're landed on Mars and they explore the planet. And you can go out only in spacesuits. You have limited food, water, internet, everything.
What is a Martian life? Like, what is that?
Well, it's, I don't know, have you seen Martian, the movie?
Yes.
Well, of course, not as hardcore as in the movie, but there is like, for example, imagine 6 people as a crew fly to Mars. They land there and they start to live there and explore the planet. Every hour is scheduled, and you have to go out in a spacesuits, like it's called EVA, extravehicular activity, and search for life. So basically, you climb the hills, have samples of soil or minerals, then you bring them back to laboratory, examine, and we actually been doing the protocol of searching for exobiology. A protocol of exobiology, which is searching for extremophiles, it's microorganisms who survive in extreme environment.
Right.
And it's so fascinating how they behave, where you can find them, and they reminded me so much of us also surviving.
They were probably
Yes.
the first organisms to try to float like you did. But the thing is, I'm trying to get, like, I'm a big fan of Alone on the History Channel, right? So I'm trying to imagine, because I can't do more than that. I've seen movies, but now I'm talking to this real life person who can tell me, what do I have to know to survive in extreme situations? Like, not what am I looking for? Like, every day I go out of that ship and I have to put on this suit and have to be careful that this happens, and what kind of weathers and what kind of surprises. Like it's actually living there. So what are the biggest challenges? Like, you have to know survival kit to be there.
Yes. Before I went there, we actually spent 3 months there in Utah Desert, and then we supposed to spend also 3 months in Arctic alone on an island. And before that, I finished rescue courses, so I became a first responder, because I understood that there will be a lot of hazards, and I want to be sure that I can help my crewmates and myself, and that I wouldn't, just freeze or become hysterical or do something that won't help at all. And of course, there you have to take care of how much food is left, and to all the supplies you have. You take care of the water, of all the technical equipment. If something gets broken, that can be a big danger to your life also. Apart from that, you need to do the science, because that's why you're here. And also be a nice crew member, be a nice person, which is not always easy, because you're stuck with 5 people. They're all different, with different nationalities, language, skills, and personalities. So
This is the crazy thing, because no one thinks of it. How do you survive, not even physically, let's talk about mentally. Like, how do you get the mental power to physically be alone and motivate yourself every day? Even not on Mars. Let's even talk about, the Antarctica or any place that you've been in. How do you do that?
I think it's motivation, like what really drives you. If you do that only for money or fame, that won't last for long. And it's not the best idea. But if it's really in your mindset, in your heart, and you understand that you do something so extraordinary, so rare, and that even if it's a tiny chance that might help for future exploration of space, and you're playing a small part in it, that's also amazing. Because I'm a fan. I want to see people living on different planets. And I want to see, governments fighting not in the wars, but fighting over next giant science discovery or, something, a new invention, but not what we have now. And when I was living there, although of course I knew I'm on Earth, but sometimes the realism that you're on Mars was so real. And I think I had the best times there, although it was hard, but still it was one of the best moments. And you grow a lot. Like every day you learn so much from your crewmates, from different skills that they show you. Like you have to be also with geologists, like working on a field. And so, you need to know some geology. Then you're working with microbiologists or with engineer. And it's so fascinating that you learn every day. I think it's really great. Plus, you have informational detox. So you don't have, phone doesn't work, internet, just to send emails. That's it. So that's really good.
But yeah, you can get that at Burning Man too. Like you're talking about like a real life superhero, right? You're like I don't know, Bruce Banner. Like where did that come from? Like I understand how the motivation, on day 12, you're saying to yourself, you're doing something big in their life because you are actually doing something for the, global and good, which is
for humanity.
Unbelievable and much appreciated when spoken to directly and unappreciated by most people. But where did that come from?
Yeah. Like,
who do you want to save? I hope you do, by the way.
Well, it came from science fiction novels, from Ray Bradbury, from Arthur Clarke, and from Herbert Wells. I was a fan of science fiction books when I was a kid, and I was reading about perfect worlds, well, kind of perfect, when people mostly doing science, art, when they stop fighting, when they explore, and when they're much more intrigued by what is out there in the universe. So I was thinking that when I grow up, for sure, I can go easily to the moon base or to Mars base, but nothing changed. Our progress in the space industry really froze. And only now with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos companies, there is something new. But for 50 years, there was nothing new, and it's crazy.
So I'm sort of curious what house you grew up in, because I think a lot of children tell their parents at some stage that they're going to be an astronaut. And it sounds like you probably did too. And I'm not sure what most parents say, but what did yours tell you?
Well, I didn't say I want to be an astronaut, but I just wanted to travel to travel to space. Like back then, I didn't have this word astronaut or not. I just wanted to see with my own eyes amazing worlds that you read in astronomy books, like different planets where conditions are so exotic to what you have on Earth, and you start to imagine, oh, how would I behave there, or I wish I could see that with my own eyes. So yes, my parents, they also loved science fiction, but they don't work in space field. And when I changed my life from journalist to, I don't know how to call myself now, because in last 5 years, I got my bachelor's degree, second degree in engineering. And so I became a test subject. I don't know if it's not a profession, but it used to be a profession in Soviet times. So they're very happy for me and proud because they see that I love what I do. And I think that's the most important.
Is that the message that they always sort of conveyed to you as a child? Like, go be you, and do what you love? Or did they present obstacles or be more grounded?
I know my dad always encouraged me. My mom was a bit more on the side of, traditional mom when they tell you, when you're going to have kids and etc. But then she understood that I'm more into career, well, in a good way, into my passion. And then she understood that when time comes, it comes. So she, I think long time ago, stopped asking me, Anastasia, come on, you have to get married and get kids. So.
And there may be some good Martians out there.
Yeah.
Who knows? So, you were a journalist. How does one become a test subject and, actually take that path? Like, can I just go and submit a form and start getting tested on? Like, I doubt that's simple.
Well, yes, actually, if you have a good health, you can get into those programs.
Really?
Yeah, like with Mars Society, they have this base in Utah, Mars Desert Research Station, and they are hosting teams like every 2 weeks. Our mission was long one, but if you want to just go there with your crew and live a Martian life for 2 weeks, you can do that. You just pay money, and that's it.
You're paying to be tested on?
Well, not for Mars Society. It's not a test. It's you're using their base for your research or for your film or for anything like. So that's why you're paying. When I was in our mission, I didn't pay anything because it was idea of Mars Society that they want to have like real Martian mission and with a crew for a long duration. So of course not. When I'm a test subject, they pay me, not the opposite. But actually with Mars Society, they just covered our flight expenses, etc. But we were totally volunteers. So it was like true passion, and because Mars Society is a non-profit organization, and they're doing really great stuff. So, and Robert Zubrin actually inspiring, and Elon Musk was also at Mars Society conventions in the past, and he still supports and donates money for Mars Society. So, yeah.
Wow. So do you think there's a lot of people out there who are like you? How much do you think like people choose themselves over, humanity?
I think there's a lot of space enthusiasts, for sure, or a lot of people who want to think of something bigger, because what's happening now in the world is quite sad, and you don't want to be in this world all the time. Of course, you want to think of a brighter future, and what can it be? Of course, I think space exploration.
Like on that sense, it's really interesting for me because you're talking about like, how do you not become pessimistic that all your goals and dreams of utopia will become, real when you see everybody now, I don't know, on the pandemic talking about something that, or how do you perceive the corona pandemic, towards your goals? Like what do you see as, like, what is it in your opinion?
I think pandemics just showed to humanity that we need to work much more on our intellectual level, because if you had much more advanced technology and science and medicine, we could solve this coronavirus thing in a couple of weeks, not what we have now. So I hope that the world understood that they need to invest into other fields, not what we had before, like consumption society.
But why are we so stupid? You're correct. But why are we not doing this? Like, still, you said that, but it's not happening. Why are we so stupid?
Because it's a long-term revenue, not a short-term, So you can be sure that it will be successful. With the science, you never know. So
how do you still believe saying that? Because you're actually doing this. You're investing your body, your life, your mind to something that's the most important thing that people don't understand right now, because it's long-term. And you may not enjoy that. I hope you do, by the way, and I wish you do. But you may not enjoy that. You may not enjoy the solution that you are helping to study. So, why isn't everybody in that mindset? Like, why can't you persuade people? Because you're definitely very smart, and you're definitely very powerful on the mindset, because I'm not as much. So why can't you convince other people that that's what we have to do?
Because when I give a lot of public talks here in Russia, and there are always a question from audience, always the same question: why we need to invest into space, into science, if we have so many problems here on Earth? Or, come on, we are so primitive here, why we need to go to Mars? We will, also ruin Mars the same as we ruined Earth here. So, yes, there's a lot of like that. It's a philosophical question. I mean, I'm trying to convince people by example, by things that are happening. Of course, not always I have, 100% energy. And of course, I have ups and downs. But I can't imagine any other way, living, because what's the point then?
What are you preaching? I mean, you're also saying that you give a lot of talks. What are you trying to advocate for?
I'm talking about my experience, not only my experience, but in general, all these isolation experiments, which, again, simulate space flights, what risk we encounter, what surprises we have, how the human factor affects all of that. Now I have also about dry-immersion experiment, other talks about to follow your dream, not to be afraid to change really 180 degrees your life. I changed it when I was 28, and back then I was just a little bit scared because I was thinking I'm not so young, but still, when I imagined that I will live not my life till 60s or 80s, that scared me more. So I said, no, I'm changing it, and I need to, try. So because many people come to me, and many young, 30 years old people, they lost. They're going to work just to earn money. They not really enjoy it. Because in the past they chose professions that are good for earning money, but they didn't choose it because they really because it's their passion. And after many years of doing that, of course, they're lost and not very happy. So they ask me, how did you come to this? How you can change it?
So what do you tell them?
Well, I say that you really, I guess if you're still hesitant and you're still afraid and you continue to live your old life, maybe the moment didn't come when you really understand that you can't do this anymore. But better if you don't wait for this moment, because time flies, and the most precious thing is your time. So better if you actually see some examples. Maybe you can get some inspiration from this, and you just start to change.
So what if a person, they feel like they're, just going to their day job, and, they're frustrated because it's just money, but they don't know what they want to do.
The worst problem that people don't know what they want to do and who they want to be. And also I have advice for them, not the science fiction books, but go back to your childhood, because when you're a kid, you don't have the mindset that is from society or from your parents. You're quite clean sheet of paper, and you just explore the world. If you like something, you like something. And actually I helped few of my friends with this advice, and my other friend, she started to be an artist, and she's like, I love to draw a lot. I was like, okay, then just start to do that. And maybe I hope that's one of the secrets to actually find yourself, to go back and remember what you really wanted to do, what you enjoyed to do.
Yeah, and I think also you're saying something really special, because you're saying a lot of people are going to be, quote unquote, lucky enough to make that step out of their comfort zone, because it's just become unbearable. And I think you're saying, and tell me if I'm wrong, that it doesn't have to get to that point, that if the person is enough, reflects enough and looks within, then they're able to sort of ask themselves, am I content in what I'm doing, or is it just about the money? And if it's just about the money, then that can't be a good enough answer because life is short.
Yes, exactly.
But Earth at the end of the day, if it will explode, I promise you everybody will work on Mars.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I think a lot of people listening, they may be tapping into something that they like, but then they're frozen because A, it takes a lot of courage to go and quit your day job. And B, okay, even if you do, you can't be an idiot. Okay, so quit your day job, and now what?
I know.
Just,
That's
you know.
what she did.
Yeah, of course you don't do that without having anything, any backup. Like you first do the research and maybe find some job that, of course, if you start new career, you wouldn't have the same salary as at your job that you're quitting, right? But also be ready to accept that, maybe to start living first, not as good in terms of money as before. Like I had also this period when I had to study and I had to quit my job, but have like a part-time job. And I understood it's not so bad. I mean, you just don't spend money on things that actually not really needed for you. You can enjoy life without money or doing something more much simpler. I don't know. It's really an amazing process how you explore yourself and life. And you spend all your time actually not on going to restaurants or other things, but since you're on a new path, so you spend all your time studying or working towards your new goal. And I think if you do it with like really honestly with your heart, like for me, life always were sending me I don't know, the green light, new opportunities. And
Kippish once said, by the way, that why spend money on things you want to do if you can do what you want to do, you won't spend money. Meaning that if you're getting so much money to fly to space at the end of the day, then why not work and fly into space? And then you have very little things to spend money on.
yes. Yeah, because people tell me, oh, Anastasia, why don't you just open like some business and then you get $50 million, you pay for a space flight, that's it. I was like, well, it's not the point. Just to fly as a tourist for 2 weeks and being not helpful at all, because most of the tourists who flew to space, they were just, hanging out there, but they didn't do any useful work. So I was like, okay, I mean, of course that's cool, but I want to have, more important job, I guess.
What do you think? We're going to be able to live in Mars? What do you think?
Yes, we were able to get to the moon back in 60s with the computers that we have now. Oh my God, I mean, we could do so much better.
Yeah, but like, will we see it in our lifetime?
If all goes good with American private space companies, yes, we will be able to see that in our lifetime. If now something happens with the world, I don't know, everything can happen. And they just stop to put any money into space program, then, maybe we're not going to see it.
So you're saying if things continue the way they are right now, like if something doesn't disturb, we should be good.
If Elon Musk continues to do what he's doing now, and he has the success, he will have the success. Also, Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin company, they're kind of like competitors, which is good. So yes, honestly, all the hopes so far for them.
Will you go?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Even if you couldn't return?
Like for Gagarin, flying first time to space was also one-way ticket. Like it was so nobody knew what is there, and he already said goodbye to his family because he also understood that he might not come back. So with Mars, we never been there, and it can be the same. I hope that not.
But you're going.
Yes, if the program, the technology is...
we just have to do a few weeks in technology. I'm there. That's it.
Yeah, if it's safe enough in terms of that they really do a good spaceship, good station that will, keep us alive there. Not like in a horror movie, when you just go there and die. That's no point.
Yeah, I can relate to that part.
You know what? Yeah. What is your superpower in your opinion?
I don't have. Honestly, I'm a normal person. I have my lazy moments.
Oh my God.
I have my lazy moments, and I'm, sometimes I'm laying on the couch eating potato chips and watching some crap on YouTube. Yeah, it's like cat videos. And I was like, oh my God, Anastasia.
Can you ask me if I would go to Mars right now? Ask me.
Are you going to go to Mars?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
that's your superpower. Holy superhero person. Your power is you're a superhero in mindset. You are challenging nature and the universe, and you are winning in the meantime because you're doing it.
But wait, I'm still going to make your life difficult. Like,
You can't.
What are you pretty good at?
What I'm good at?
Yeah.
I'm good at like being a good crewmate, like following all the routine procedures, learning new experiments and stuff. I'm really enjoying it. I'm good at writing, actually. So, I mean, well, people tell me that all my stories from Mars they really loved reading them. And they are waiting, everyone waits for me to write a book, but I don't have the final chapters for the book, so I'm still hesitant. And I'm still learning how to be an engineer. It's really hard, just imagine, from a journalist to become an engineer, so I'm still coping with that. Yeah, but I understood that there is no boundaries, so if you want, you can do it. Just a lot of work and will.
What's your kryptonite?
I don't know how to say. I don't know. I can, as I said, I can be sometimes lazy. And then I'm I'm angry at myself. Like, Anastasia, you've been not productive this week. What's going on? And,
Was today a productive day?
I think 80%.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. I thought you would say not really.
Also, I used to be more emotional. I was expecting a lot from people. Like, you have high expectations, and I think it's a bit naive or naive way of looking at life.
I will say that I'm guessing a small part of you is willing to leave Earth because, in a sense, you don't believe in people that much, and you're sort of okay with foregoing, relationships with human beings.
No, I love people. I guess it's all these science fiction books. I'm really happy when I watch movies, when we travel from one planet to another on the cool spaceships, and everyone they're doing what they want to do, and it's so cool. And I was like, wow, I wish I could live in this place. But now, actually, after my recent isolation experiment, it was last year, we've been in a space station totally locked without any sunlight for 4 months. So, after that, I became more wise. So I don't have high expectations from people anymore. And I'm much more patient, I guess. I'm much more understandable. And I understand that life is much more complex, and human psychology also. Like, you can do one thing, but then it doesn't mean that you're a bad person or a good person. It can be, it's not only black and white. There's also gray colors between. It's complex. So
what's next for you?
I'm hesitant. Recently, Russian Space Agency announced a contest because they want to be first before Tom Cruise flies to ISS to shoot a movie. So Russian Space Agency wants to be the first who film movie on International Space Station. And they announced contest that they're looking for women actress, or you can be just talented. And they want to send her for 2 weeks into space to film a movie. So, and all my friends say, come on, apply. But it's so, I look at this and I understand that it's really unrealistic. So
I have to say something. The last thing I want you to do is to send you to Mars. And I'll explain. I would love you to preach as much as possible while you're still on Earth. Because now that I have children, between your humility and optimism and the expectancy of nothing or minimal from other people's feedback and doing and challenging yourself every day is something that there was a point in time where you heard a lot of people talking about that, when there was, global communities or national communities, and we don't hear that enough. And I really feel that this perspective is a lost perspective for a next generation, where people can also be good people, challenging people, and doing things. I wouldn't say for greater good, because no one has to do for the greater good, but just doing things because they believe in them, okay, and not because someone else believed in something and it's cool. So
Yes.
so like just for that sense, as much talking as possible and as much expressing what you're feeling is something that I like for me, like, I don't know what your end goal is, and like I believe in any end goal you would do, but if I would, for my personal interest, have an end goal, it would be hearing as much as possible people having that kind of sight, which is incredible, and that's like a definite superpower in my opinion.
You're too nice to me, honestly. Well, I had my portion of negative feedback when I started my path. Everyone was like laughing at me. What? You want to go to Mars and etc. So for those who listen, I think my advice, don't read comments. Don't listen to those people who don't believe in you or in your passion. Just continue to do what you do. And I hope that you will still have few friends next to you or your relatives who support you, because that's important. But yeah, and society changed like in 2013, and now space is much more in trend than what it was 7 years ago. And now I don't get such a feedback as, oh, you want to do this because you're just a woman who is not married. I was like, what the bullshit is that? Oh, my God. That's so bad. Or you're just doing this because you're bored, and much worse comments. I wouldn't even talk about them. So, yeah, just I guess more information, more talking about that helps. You're right. So we'll continue to do that. Nobody still gives me a ticket to space, so I'm still here on Earth. For me, maybe 10 or 20 years, who knows. But I love Earth, and I just think that we should move on in terms of, like, before we were exploring different continents, and now it's time also that we can go further.
That is amazing. And I'm thinking also people listening to you are at the very least going to be motivated to explore themselves.
Yeah, when you explore the world, you explore yourself. That's for sure.
Amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate this. And, maybe we'll regroup again after you just achieve a few more milestones that I don't even know what's in store for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was really nice, inspiring conversation for me. You're really warm and nice people, and with interesting questions, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you. In the meantime, just preach it so some people can be optimistic.
Thank you. Well, add me on social media. We can be friends.
Yeah, we're going to be friends.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Real life.
Superpowers.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It's alive!
Real life.
Superpowers.